Tumi, Reitumetse. And you told me very quickly to call you Tumi. So
Yes.
Tumi is from Kwela Brews, and Tumi was part of our previous year's UCT University Pitch Competition, previously called UCT Shark Tank, previous to that called UCT Leopard's Lair. This year it is called Akro's University Pitch Competition. And we're lucky we've got some time from her because she's a very busy MBA student, MBA, Master's Engineering student. And with that, I'm going to hand over to you and ask you to introduce yourself, please.
Hi, everyone. I am Tumi. Currently a Master's in Engineering student specializing in chemical engineering. I did my Bachelor's of Science in Engineering at UCT. And yeah, I'm super excited to tell you more about my journey with Janine's team and where we've gotten so far.
Awesome, thanks for that. So I think let's start off, I've said the name of your business, but if you could say it again, and the year that you entered the competition and what made you enter the competition.
Okay, so my business is Kwela Brews, and I entered the competition last year, so October 2021. And yeah, I entered the competition because I had this idea where I wanted to solve a pressing problem regarding the challenges homebrewers of traditional African beer face. So homebrewers of traditional African beer are mainly situated in townships and rural areas, and they're usually Black women because they are the knowledge holders, the indigenous knowledge holders. And they've been brewing over decades for financial reasons. And because of their brewing conditions, they cannot control their processes properly. And so their product is sometimes inconsistent, and they cannot measure whether there's been some contamination or not because of the lack of resources. So Kwela Brews was this idea to provide the home brewers with equipment like a brewing machine, which is still the idea, that is low cost, that is easy to use, and that will help them produce beer more efficiently.
And you know, I actually have more respect about that now myself, to me, because my son was given as a gift one of these like homebrewing kits, you know, these kind of homebrewing kits. It's not the traditional African beer, I understand.
Yeah.
So the first lot that he did was absolutely stunning. And, you know, all the family members who tasted were just like, wow, this is incredible. And he was so enthused, and he thought, oh, he'll get himself a side hustle going. And he tried to brew it again and just could not get the same results. And so I've got huge respect for these women who do this, because you know, the changes in temperature, the changes in the water, the product, you know, the raw ingredients, as you know, they've got to know what they're doing. There's got to be experience there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I call my grandma when I'm busy with a batch myself, and I'm like, oh, it's not going that great. Mind you, I'm a chemical engineering student.
That's beautiful. Yeah. I mean, that's absolutely that's exactly worthwhile pointing out. So, but what made you decide to enter the competition, Tumi?
So I had the idea for a while, but I was still not very confident in it. But I just chose to take a chance. If it was a bad idea, then from the competition, I'd know, because the judges would let me know, and then I'll be like, cool, this was a bad idea, now I know. But I just wanted to take this chance to see whether the idea makes sense to people as much as it makes sense to me. And also to give me first of all, the confidence to move forward with the idea, but also the resources to move forward with the idea as well.
And I think that's such an interesting point. So what Tumi is pointing out here is that there's two ways that you can enter the competition. One is with an idea or ideation stage. This is when something is brewing in your head and you just haven't put it to fruition yet, and you're trying to figure out, is there merit to it? And I think that's such an important point that that I'm so glad that you came in on this. And then the other part of it is a business that, for all intents and purposes, might not have any customers or anything, but has already pretty much got off the ground and is getting off the ground. So I think those are the two ways. And then you came in under there was a pure commerce division, and then there was an impact division. And you could have come in on both, but you decided to come in on the impact. And I'm so pleased you did. Can you talk about that in terms of impact and why you see this as an impact project as well as a commercial product?
Yes. So I see it as a social impact project because of, one, the people that I want to serve are in under-resourced communities. And given that they can't access, brewing kits, for example, or certain things that can make their brewing conditions easier. So they totally rely on their skill, and those who can't rely on their skill end up, changing the recipes in some ways to give their beverage a kick, but then it's not as nutritious as, authentic traditional African beer is. So yes, there's the side of, the socio-economic issues, and then there's also the health impact. I don't know, maybe you've seen documentaries about, people who drink home-brewed traditional African beer, which, is one of the variants, the dangerous variants. And yeah, the health impacts on the consumers aren't good. And because they don't know, or the doctors don't know what's in the brew, they don't know how to help the people who have consumed it. So yes, my business was actually inspired by, those health impacts, but then also thinking of people like my grandmother, who I want to see work as easily as possible, is the reason why this for me was a social impact project.
Beautiful. And I think I've lived in America, I live here, and I've seen through the years, because I'm not 2 years old anymore, I've seen through the years how South Africa's become more and more regulated. And obviously there's a lot of good things with being regulated, to your point, the hygiene of products, etc. But the danger of that is that you lose whatever authenticity, tradition is in a certain process. And I think for that reason, it was quite, I'll never forget when we moved to America many years ago, my husband took sort of what the local beer, Coors or whatever it is, and it's like, oh, it's so chemical, it's tasted so chemical. And that was, he was a SAB guy, SAB, which has already changed a lot since then. And I think then, people who are used to the traditional home brews, even coming to our regular beers, it's got to be such a more processed, and okay, you're healthy, but you're losing a lot of stuff along the way. So I think what you're serving to solve is very important on many, many levels. Could you tell us, let's go straight to the crux. Did you win anything on the competition?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to tell everybody what you won and what you've done with it, or not what you've done with it? I mean, I don't want you to feel like you're being examined here, but just, how's it helped your business?
Yeah, so I won 20,000 rands to test my idea. And it's been such a huge help because there are many things that I wouldn't have been able to do if I didn't have that seed funding to test things out. And so obviously, while I was busy with the idea, I was based at home in the Free State. And when I came here to Stellenbosch, I had to find home brewers who I could, ask more questions and show them the concept that I'm trying to share with them and something that I'm trying to create for them. And so that has helped a lot in that regard. And also now I have something that is a minimum viable product.
Love it.
That I'm about to test. So yes, the funding, oh, sorry, my phone is on loud. The funding has helped a lot with all those costs that come with everything. And also we have a website now, and that costs money.
Yeah, it does. It does. And you said to me that before this interview that you've actually registered your business formally.
Yes.
So I mean that's a huge step up. It means that you're taking the business seriously. So and that's what's helped you. I think that's brilliant.
FICA approved and everything.
Brilliant. Yeah, and people don't understand the importance of that. You know, when COVID hit, there were so many businesses that couldn't claim, you know, for grants for their business because they weren't actually registered. They didn't have their employees, you know, on PAYE and formally, yeah. So that's the good news about being everything being formalized. How have you grown since entering the competition on a personal basis?
Well, personally, one, I feel, I guess, more confident because my idea was validated. I wasn't trying to say I feel more validated because...
Good. Lovely, yeah. You know your worth.
Yes. So confidence in my idea and confidence that I can contribute to the world in ways that aren't so conventional. Because obviously as a student or coming out of school, we're all wired to, you know, study, then get a good job and then stay in the job, and then become the CEO, whatever. But I love that through entrepreneurship, I can see how I can better contribute to the world, and mainly on things that I really care about that people don't yet care about at the moment. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so next question. What is the most valuable lesson you learned whilst on the competition?
Ask many questions.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, obviously with an engineering background, yes, we did do some like businessy things by crunching the numbers, but when it came down to, okay, now this is how you start a business, that was very challenging for me. And I guess it's still quite challenging for me. And so to be on this competition with all the workshops that you guys provided, I got to learn a lot from that. I got to learn a lot from other people's questions. And then where I was still lost, ask more questions.
Yeah, and you did. It was lovely. And I have to say, from my personal point of view, being on the outside looking in, yeah, I could see, you could say, there was to me with a lot of question marks. And then by the end of the competition, there was to me. And it's not to say that, as you say, you're never going to be without questions, going to carry on. But it was like, okay, so this is actually where I start. And this is to us one of the most, there's two main reasons why, you know, Akro wanted to be part of this competition. One was that students could actually take a look at entrepreneurship as a career choice, and not just be forced into it because they don't have a job, but actually as a choice. And then the second one was for people like yourself who are not involved in economics at all, but you've got some idea bubbling and brewing, like where to now. So, and I think that's hopefully super valuable. And it was quite interesting because before we actually started this interview on air here, you said to me that you're potentially considering going into this full time once you finished varsity. So I think, you know, you're almost pushing both pedals of what we're trying to do here.
Yes, definitely. And then I guess another thing that, or the underlying principle that the competition taught me is, you know, starting a business is trial and error. It's a risk. Be willing to take it if you really believe in your idea. And then, yeah, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But what if it does?
Wow, I've actually got shivers going down me when you say that. Because what if it does? We always ask ourselves, what can go wrong? I know I mitigate a lot of risk personally by always saying, okay, if the worst happens, can I cope with the worst? But it's a very negative outlook, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rather the other one, what happens if it goes right? So thank you
Yes.
for that. And actually, that almost speaks to the last question I have for you, which is, what advice would you give anyone entering the competition?
Okay, so I'm going to speak to the people who are in the ideation phase, because yeah, I'm still working towards the other phase, just in life. I would say one, really understand the problem that you're trying to solve and care about the person you're trying to solve that problem for, because that is the core of your business, and that is where you figure out your value proposition and things like that. And so that's been the center for me, and that's how I know I'll always be working on Kwela Brews, even if it's a different name at some other point, is that I care about home brewers, I care about African heritage, and I want to see it continue through my activities as well. And then another one is just, yeah, take that chance. Why not? Why not you?
Yeah, thank you so much. I love it. Thank you. And we will put up a link to your website, but could you just tell anybody where they can see what you're up to? And is there anyone that you want to engage with? And if so, who would that be? In terms of your business. Yeah.
Yeah, you can find us on www.kwelabrews.com. We also have a Facebook page, Kwela Brews. We're on Instagram at Kwela Brews and on LinkedIn as Kwela Brews. And yes, I'm keen to engage with people who know home brewers in their area and are keen to engage with them in that way, ask them some questions and learn about our African heritage. Because Heritage Month is coming up. Yay.
Oh.
And then I'm also
love it.
Yes, I'm also keen to hear from people in the culinary space. What do they think they could do with traditional African beer, and what palate, and
oh my word, that's exciting,
combinations that they want to come up with. And I will connect them with authentic African beer brewers.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's so exciting. Thank you so much for all your time. Thank you, Tumi, your star, and wishing you continued success.
Thank you, Janine. All the best to everyone.
Thank you. Okay, I've stopped.